Hello and welcome back to another unboxing video. Today we're looking at Columbia Classics Volume 1 4K UHD collection of 6 films. These 6 films have not been released on the format before. They are only available in this box set, so let's go ahead and give them a look. So these 6 films are Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, Lawrence of Arabia, Dr. Strangelove, Gandhi, A League of Their Own, and Jerry Maguire. If you're wondering why A League of Their Own and Jerry Maguire are in with other movies, it is because they were voted into this collection by an audience vote that they did a couple of years ago. I believe that happened in 2018. I did want to point out, and I think this is part of the shrink wrap. Let me flip this around so you can read this label. So there is some issue with Lawrence of Arabia, which we will talk about. All of these films received a native 4K transfer. The only film to do Dolby Vision for the HDR format is Lawrence of Arabia. I think you can understand why, that being the crown jewel in the crown of Sony. All the rest received HDR10, HDR format treatments. Dolby Atmos is used for most of these movies. A League of Their Own, Lawrence of Arabia, Gandhi, and Jerry Maguire. The two that did not receive a Dolby Atmos soundtrack were Mr. Smith Goes to Washington and Dr. Strangelove, and their sound format is DTS HD. Blu-rays and a digital code are included for these films. So I did want to point out that this wraparound, I like the design of this box set overall. I like the film strip. However, I don't like that this only partly covers that. And we'll see if we can get that wraparound J-card off, and I think we did. So you see some glue there. Get that off. I know it's magnetized somewhat because I put some steel books on it and it stuck to it, so we'll look at how that works. There is a hardback book in back here. And what I think is going to happen is this flap will open and this flap will open, and 3 movies will be on each side. We'll test that theory. I hear some loose discs, so I will be careful with that. To flip this around real quick, it's just the Columbia logo there that you can see. It's kind of faint. So nothing too crazy, but I do like the gold lettering. It's a nice touch. And yes, it just opens like that. And something is loose on the left-hand side. So, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, Lawrence of Arabia, Dr. Strangelove. And then on the right-hand side, have a hard time fitting this all in frame here. So, Gandhi, A League of Their Own, and Jerry Maguire. I'll pull out the book later. Let's go ahead and look at some of the ones on the left-hand side. And it looks like there's a digital code there, so I'm going to address that out of frame. Dr. Strangelove, Lawrence of Arabia, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. And it sounds like the loose discs are in here. Show you those again. All of these films did receive complimentary slip covers. So you can kind of see that throughout. Let's go ahead and fix this loose disc situation. I'll slide it out. So as you can see, different artwork between that slip cover and the case itself. with a breakdown of the special features and the technical specifications. But just a quote there on the slipcover. Set that aside for now. Gonna fix that loose disc. That was the 4K UHD that was rattling around. So I'll be sure and inspect that. There's the disc artwork for both. I'll get these out of frame as I open them. Dr. Strangelove. I like that artwork, to give you a look side by side of the front. And then the reverse. I have not yet encountered that digital code. Here is a look at the inside. And then Lawrence of Arabia, which I am, of course, really excited for having on the 4K UHD format. It's one of my most requested titles. So there's a side-by-side with the original artwork in the actual case. So we have the feature here on Blu-ray disc, and it's a stacking case. So underneath 4K UHD, feature disc 2. As you can see in the 4K UHD, it is split across 2 discs. And we'll pull out these discs on the right hand side. So that 4K UHD feature disc 1. And then the special features. I mentioned that sticker that was on the shrink wrap on the outside. The deal with that is Sony had meant to include special features from disc 3 of the earlier release. About 8 years ago, Lawrence of Arabia, there was a 3-disc collection and a 2-disc collection. They had promised to include everything from the 3-disc collection, but had only included things from the 2-disc collection. So there are some things still missing, such as, I think, Lawrence Arabia 50, a featurette, as well as a short conversation with Martin Scorsese. And that has a disc replacement program going for it that I will be participating in. I can't say that these are the easiest to pull out. Let me see. The angle kind of helps do that. Oh, and I encountered that digital code, which has separate codes for all 6 movies. Here's a look at Gandhi. Go ahead and close that. Jerry Maguire and A League of Their Own. Look at A League of Their Own first. With a side-by-side. And a reverse. "4K UHD" on the right there. And the Blu-ray. Look at Gandhi here. This one is also split across two 4K UHD discs. So it's nice that they are taking the home theater enthusiast into account and maintaining the highest quality presentation. Disc 1, Disc 2, both 4K UHDs. Blu-ray feature, and the special features on a Blu-ray disc. And last but not least, Jerry Maguire. Let me pull that out. See that side by side. Looks like there's some shrink wrapping effect here going on. I think I can live with that. 4K UHD there on the right hand side and the Blu-ray on the left. Before digging into that hardbound book, let me set out all of the slip covers together and all of the hard cases together. And there's a lot to fit in the frame. But you get a sense that none of these things match, and that is where I think the slipcover idea was a nice touch. That through the introduction of these slipcovers, if you choose to keep these outside of the box set, that there is some consistency in how these movies are treated, even though they're about as different as can be in content, in genre, in time frame, in filmmaking innovation. They're pretty different from one another. But this adds some consistency. So I'll set all of that aside. And bring back this box set. It's now empty on the inside. You have, of course, that Columbia title screen on the reverse. Here is what the hardbound book looks like. And I'm looking in that slot to see if there was anything else, and there is not. So I think we're good to talk about the book and only that. I'm going to close this up for the remainder of the video. Put it aside once again. And let's thumb through this. I'm not going to read every page. Just wanted to get a feel for what this book is about. Has a table of contents here. Goes through these film by film. It appears that these are in chronological order. Has an introduction. So I had just resold the Blu-ray of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and it certainly looks like they've repurposed a lot of the digibook text for this release. Same deal, I had resold Lawrence of Arabia, that 3-disc special edition. A lot of these stills are familiar to me from the hardbound book that came with that. a lot of that image, those images and that text being reused. So I will say my comment is I think they kept the overall narrative, trying to tie all of these movies together to a minimum, and I appreciate that because they are so different. I like that they are treating this chapter by chapter, using each film as a chapter and talking about just that film. And I think I'm safe to thumb through this at a faster pace now. And we've reached the last film, Jerry Maguire. And it does look like there is an epilogue. I don't know if this was needed as a special feature to this collection. You know, I'm more than happy to have all of these movies on 4K. Two glowing reviews for the audiovisual presentation from everything that I've read so far. The book is just a nicety. I will say that I have read comments that people have said they're going to wait for individual releases. I do want to kind of point out that effectively within this box set you can discard the box set, put it on a shelf, wait until you resell it if that's something you should do. But if you're talking about $110 for 6 films, you're talking about $18.30, about there for each release. Comes with its own slipcover, comes with the digital copy, comes fully loaded with special features. If you're interested in all of these movies, or even 4 out of the 6, I don't think you can beat the $110 price point, considering these are 4K UHD discs that can retail anywhere from $25 a piece to $35 for a movie release for something like Lawrence of Arabia, probably. So, to wrap it up, let's just bring back this collection box set. You know, I think this box set received criticism for having this random pairing of movies, but when you take them out and put them on your shelf, if that's something you're inclined to do, I don't think it really matters much. It's good to have these movies released all at once. Look forward to watching all of them, especially going back to things like Lawrence of Arabia, A League of Their Own, which I haven't seen for a decade, and to have it be 4K UHD, native 4K scans, I don't think you can beat that. So thanks for watching. If you stuck around to the end, check out some of my other videos, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Real quick, want to address something that I left out of the video. I didn't see it when I pulled it out, but there is a bonus disc. It is a DVD included in this box set. As you can see, it's just contained in one of these little screener envelopes here. It is a DVD. It contains 2 special features. The 2 special features are Columbia Pictures at 50 and an interview about Gandhi and Attenborough. So both of these special features are about 45 minutes long. I'm not sure why they weren't included on some of the other discs in this set. I just wanted you to be aware that this was included. I think it was hanging out on the left-hand side. So just be looking for that in your box set, and FYI that it's there.